Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Dr. Bakri. Today my group will present about National Security Strategy on the Eastern Sabah Security Command. It is Esscom. I myself Azafrin, Faris Musaki, Richie Juta, Ahmad Terry and Khairil Afandi are part of our group that we will proceed our presentation. So the next slide please. So what is Esscom? Esscom is actually a Eastern Sabah Security Command that is being told by the Prime Minister Najib Razak at 2013 after the incident of Lahad Datu. So let me tell you a little bit background about Lahad Datu. Lahad Datu actually happens when there are about 200 people attack Sabah during the times in their motive that they want to take Sabah as their part of as their territory. So when the incident happened, we Malaysians are very shocked that we thought that Malaysia are very secure, but we realized that we lack of support on the Eastern Sabah. So this is the Esscom vision and aim. So what is the aim of Esscom actually? So Esscom aim to prevent any terrorist activities over the water. It means that the Prime Minister have created Esscom in order to gather all the military forces to put it in Sabah to protect Sabah people from any intruders. So how do he do that? He will collect all the great forces and army and combine them into one single power so that they can fight back the terrorist group. Furthermore, the aim of Esscom actually is to protect the security and welfare of the citizens in the Eastern Sabah. In the meantime, Datuk Ismail Sabri Yaakob has also been assured that the existence of Esscom in the S zone area will not collide into any of the fish activities or business activities. It means that as long as the business is legal, then they have no point to be scared of them. So thank you, and I will pass my presentation to Faris Musaki.
I will continue with the what is counter-insurgency and what is insurgency. Okay, first of all is what is insurgency? Insurgency is a movement within a country dedicated to overthrowing the government, and insurgency is a rebellion. So the main point is insurgency a movement to overthrow the government. So for example, the US was founded by insurgency when the colonists fought England in independence. So in another example, in the Star Wars movie, the rebels forces staged an insurgency. So around the world, many insurgency exist using violence and any other means. Insurgency is also used for less serious situation. For example, a rebellious group within a company, within a political party, or within in a school could be called an insurgency. All insurgency are made up of rebels. But for today's discussion, we focus on an insurgency is a movement, is a political movement with a specific aim to overthrow the government. Okay. The ultimate goal of an insurgency is to challenge the existing government for control of all or a portion of its territory, or force political concession in sharing political power. Insurgency requires the active or tacit support of some portion of the population involved. So next one is what is counter-insurgency. Then when we have insurgency, what we do is we must counter it. So the military action taken by the government to prevent attacks by small group of soldiers or fighters that are opposed to it. Counter-insurgency, or as we call as COIN, is defined as those military, paramilitary, political, economic, psychological and civic action taken by a government to defeat insurgency. This This description is from DOD in 2001. DOD is Department of Defense Dictionary of Military and Associated and term. Okay, so basically, COIN is widely inclusive way to deal with with countering unpredictable extremist fighting. An approach which perceives that a military answer for a contention is not practical just for just a consolidated military, political and civilian arrangement is conceivable. For example, Malaysia, we has experienced several incidents of insurgency, such as in 1948, Malayan Communist Party (MCP), and the new one is in 2013, the case of Lahad Datu standoff. Malaysia also have been a main mediator to other countries. For example, in between the Thailand government and the Southern Thai insurgency. Okay. Furthermore, about the counterinsurgency, counterinsurgency is to build popular support for a government while suppressing or co-opting insurgent movement. So there are so many tactics can be used in counterinsurgency, such as population and control, oil spot, cordon and search, air operation, and public diplomacy. So about this tactic, I will talk a little bit about the cordon and search. Cordon and search is a military tactic. It's a basic military tactic, one of the basic counterinsurgency operations, in which an area is cordoned off and premises search for weapons or insurgency. So the second one, I will talk about the population and control. Population control, sorry. It's also called drain the water or drain the swamp, which mean involve the forces involve the forced relocation of the population. Population means water, to expose the rebels or insurgent. Rebels or insurgent we call fish. So the population control, we relocated the civilians, which mean water. We drain the water, and we suppress the insurgent to come out. We suppress the fish to come out from the water. So that's all from my part. I will pass to my friend.
Okay, my name is Richie Juta, and I will continue the presentation of Esscom, which is to the part of the background of the issue, and for more precisely, it's about Lahad Datu standoff. Okay, as we know that on the 11th February 2013, Malaysia was shocked by the incursion in Lahad Datu, and the incident occurred where more than 200 people fully armed entered the eastern part of Sabah using boat. And this group, where they call themselves as the Royal Security Forces of the Sultanate Sulu and North Borneo, was sent by the Jamalul Kiram III, who was one of the claimants to the throne of the Sultanate Sulu. And this group that was sent by Jamalul Kiram was led by the Raja Muda Hagi Muda Kiram, which is the crown prince of the Sultanate Sulu. The group wanted to negotiate with the Malaysian government about the ownership of Sabah, but the Malaysian government rejected their demand because the government of Malaysia doesn't recognize Sultanate Sulu claim, and furthermore, the Sultanate Sulu was barely exists right now. That's why the Malaysian government did rejected their demand. And after that, the Malaysian government deployed the security forces to force the Sulu militant to leave Sabah after a certain time that were given to them. This is because that after the Malaysian government rejected their demand, the Malaysian government asked them to leave Sabah, and then
strictly that they don't want to move out from Sabah, and they want to stay until the Malaysian government approve to renegotiate about the claimant of Sabah. Okay, I will continue the presentation to the responses of the Malaysian government. Quickly after the Lahad Datuk standoff, Malaysian Prime Minister at that time, which is Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak, announced that the establishment of the Eastern Sabah Security Command, which is Esscom, on the 7 March 2013. And the establishment of Esscom can avoid the potential threat to Malaysia's security, in particularly in the eastern of Sabah. Esscom is the main enforcement agency tasked to safeguard the sovereignty of S-Zone, which cover the area of Kudat, Kota Marudu, Pitas, Beluran, Sandakan, Kinabatangan, Lahad Datu, Punak, Semporna, and the last one is Tawau. And the formation of Esscom was different from the Operation Pasir, which launched in 2000 after the 2000 simpadan kidnapping in Sabah. Esscom, on the other hand, play a big role securing the Sabah Eastern Seaboard with the involvement of multiple forces or multiple agencies such as the Royal Malaysian Police, Malaysian Armed Forces, and Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, and also the civil officer in order to tackle the issue related to terrorism and kidnapping, but also organised crime, illegal immigrant, relocation of water villages, as well as being involved in community engagement and public awareness program, among others.
Okay, goyang kepala goyang.
Ready, guys? Okay. Okay, the government of Malaysia are still improving Esscom in order to tightening the security of Sabah, and a few steps have been taken by the government of Malaysia. And for example, is as you can see, the first step is Malaysia Home Ministry says that a curfew will be imposed along its coastline in the eastern state of Sabah, as the threat continues from Filipino militants from the country Muslim South. And the second step is to expand international cooperation with the security agencies in the Philippines and Indonesia to assist Esscom in order to strengthen the security in the Sulu Sea. When Malaysia, the Philippines and Indonesia cooperate with each other, Esscom can be improved and any kind of threat can be deterred. Esscom will also play an important role in fighting crime in the border sea of Sabah. For example, of crime is the smuggling, kidnapping, drug trafficking and human trafficking and more.
Wow.
And one of the example of the case of kidnapping is when a Malaysian which were fishing in the sea of in the Sulu Sea were kidnapped by militants. Was fully alert regarding to this case, and they sealed the border immediately as a response to this kind of threat. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
Okay, I will continue with strength of the Esscom. First thing is manage particular dangers of hijacking voyages. Okay, this is a particular thing because we know that some of the pirates are constantly hijacking the ship that enter the South China Sea between the Malaysia and the Philippine island. Okay, secondly is new security to Sabah and Sarawak. We know that before this there's some dispute. Okay, we know that before this we know that. Secondly is new security to Sabah and Sarawak. We know before this there is a Sulu militant that enter Sabah and Sarawak to, and they claim that Lahad Datu is belong to them. Esscom is established to secure this area because they seem like to kill the people and the military to persuade them. Malaysia government try to negotiate with the Sulu militant that they cannot claim the Lahad Datu island because there's Malaysia established the that is the area is belong to Malaysia. But seem like the Sulu militant does not accept the negotiation. Malaysia government try to secure the place with establishing the Esscom. Okay, third thing is has an alternate methodology and interest for each other. This is the thing that when Malaysia they use some of the military, but some of the military not enough stronger than the other military from the other part of other country like Sulu militant, and Esscom was established to use to cover all the militant, all the attack from the other country, and that it will more secure Malaysia land. Okay, that's all for me.
Today I will talk about the weakness of Esscom. Firstly, we will talk about the imbalanced organisation of the armed force and police in Peninsula Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. As we all know that to combat terrorism, we must as our government must send our troops and police to the Peninsula Malaysia and to Sabah and Sarawak evenly. But there are in certain cases there are less police and military in Sabah and Sarawak compared to the Peninsula Malaysia. Next, we will talk about nation security were invaded by foreign informants. As we all know that nation security is very important in Malaysia. So when we are invaded by foreign informants, our data, our secrets, our nation's data and our nation's secrets will be hijacked by a potential terrorist group. Next please. Okay, the third point is on smuggling of illegal goods from neighboring nations. Why is this a point in our assignment? Because when other nations can smuggle illegal goods, how can we believe in ourselves that they cannot smuggle weapons, armories, and even terrorist groups in our country? Next is failure to combat abduction problem. As we all know, mostly in Sabah, the recent one in Sempurna, Sabah, there are abduction cases that includes foreigners that come to Malaysia. Not only will it harm our locals there, but also it will harm the foreigners and it will also harm our economy. The standard operating procedures (SOP) after the revamp of the Esscom, there are no objective. There are no certain objective that can be fulfilled in the new revamption of Esscom. Lastly, it is on did not report the presence of illicit outsiders in their areas. Illicit outsiders is illegal immigrants in our areas. The JKKK of the kampung in Sabah and Sarawak, and also the head of the kampung, head of the town, mostly did not report the presence of illegal immigrants. Not only will it harm the locals there, but it can also, in the future, harm ourselves also. Yes.
Okay, after we countering the threat of the national security, the State Security Council have done a very good job in countering the enemy and terrorists in that area. So, we here have decided some recommendation for the government to further strengthen the Esscom strength of Esscom. So, the first recommendation is eliminating illegal immigrants. So, when we talk about illegal immigrants in Sabah, they are always full of immigrants. They can pass Sabah just like easy. It means that they doesn't need so many things to pass, just like we in Thailand. So, one thing that government can do so that they can strengthen the border, they have to set a certain criteria so that a person that wanted to enter Sabah have to meet the certain criteria. And furthermore, for any citizens that from there that who doesn't have any valid IC and wanted to be a Malaysian citizen, they have to meet the certain things. It means that they have to provide a valid document, they have to be clean from any terrorist act. Okay. So the second point is eliminating the spy of the organized crime and terrorist group. Okay, when we talk about spy and organized crime and terrorist group, the spy in Sabah mainly come from a village. The village named a tribe that called Palau. It means that the people over there are being, I don't know, like tips or giving to give the terrorists any information regarding about police, Malaysian police, so that any police that try to catch them will surely fail attempt. So, in order to prevent any spies, as we find it in our research, we have found that one author have told us that government can do a single place with a single jetty connected to that island of the tribe. It means that when a single jetty is created, it means they have one way out and one way in. In that terms, the government can protect that island and the tribe from any spies or intruders. So, the third and the last recommendation of our group is using the abandoned island or site inside the Malaysian territorial water effectively. It means that the government can use the abandoned site. Just as stated by Datuk Sri Syahidan Kasim, he decided the government decision on using the forward operating base in securing the Eastern Territorial Sea, because when they use the abandoned site, it will be easier for them to countering any terrorist act. In addition, according to the former Director General of Esscom, Datuk Muhammad Mente, the FOB is playing an important role towards protecting Malaysian territorial water from any intruders. Imagine they can block any ships or any intruders that are trying to enter the Malaysian territorial water. It can be a great base for them. So, when we talk about the defense in the island, the government also have spent many money to improve the boat of the security officers over there. It means that they have been given a speedboat that are bulletproof to chase any intruders or any suspicious act at the water. In addition, by utilizing the present island and the boat that are been given by the government, the security enforcement can easily counter any terrorist act. So to conclude this presentation, I myself and my group think that the government has came out with a great idea on defend the Malaysian territory. It means that the intrusion of Lahad Datu have sparked the government idea on how they can combine the force between army, police officers and another soldiers to combine three, so they can become a great power to protect Malaysian territory.